Yes, yes. Check, check, check. Mic check. Mic check. Yes.
Growing a startup is tough. You have Yes, yes. Mic check. Somebody shout yes. Somebody shout yes. Type yes. All right. Good evening. Good everybody. Our thoughts live again. Yeah. We have a couple of one topic. One topic. Not here. Not hearing. Hear me now. Check, check. Mic check. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Yeah, I try to do something to this microphone, but it seemed like it put a hitch in my giddy up. Yeah, so I'm smoking a cigar. I'm trying to calm down my nerves because, I'm a very emotional person. And I'm going to explain why I say I'm a very emotional person, but I'm very emotional. If I didn't know, I know now. I just learned today that I'm very emotional. Well, I learn every Sunday on a football season that I'm very emotional, and I'm a very big sports fan. I'm very big on football, especially it's football season right now. I follow the NBA, soccer, and anything sports, as I always say, right? But there's a few stars or a few players that I follow in the National Football League, right? That I don't like to see them lose. Right, I don't like to see them play bad, and I don't like to see them lose. Hence, I don't like to see their team lose. And sometimes, even to the detriment of my own team, I'm a Raider fan, and sometimes I don't care about the Raiders as long as they're playing against certain people. Okay, I sound low. See if I turn this up a little bit. Tell me if I sound better. Let me wait to hear if I sound better. Okay, my my executive what do you call it? No, my executive producer say I sound better, so I'm gonna work with that. Okay, or my executive director. I don't know what she is. She's something, right? As long as you're working with me, it's okay. All right. Alrighty, yeah. So I don't like to see certain people lose in the NFL, especially on the Sundays. Sometimes on a Thursday night, sometimes on a Sunday night and a Monday night. I don't like to see certain people lose. So today I'm watching a game between the Baltimore Ravens and the Cincinnati Bengals. Right, first game I turn on. Well, normally I turn on a Sunday. I turn it on. I turn on the TV. I put it on the NFL network because I like to see like a multiplicity of games. So they bounce from game to game, so you can kind of see what's going on around the league on a Sunday, right? But there's always a game that I want to watch per se. So I decide I'm gonna dial into the game between the Baltimore Ravens and the Cincinnati Bengals because I want to see Lamar, beat that ass, right? He and why? One because he's a black quarterback. That's the first thing, first and foremost. And I didn't like how they treat him coming out of college, right? Coming out of college, they want this guy because he's very athletic. He can run, he can jump. He's quick, everything, right? They wanted him to play wide receiver slash running back, any one of them. Aside from the position that he played in college, right? He was very adamant that he's not going to do that. They want him to run in the combine to see how fast he is, right? They want him to run the 40 yard dash. He said he's not going to do it because I'm a quarterback, so you got the tape. You see me playing college, so draft me wherever you want to draft me. So he didn't get drafted that high. I think he got drafted around 30 something. I think that's in the second round of the draft, I think, right? Even though he was the Heisman Trophy winner, right? He got drafted that low in the draft. And then he ended up in Baltimore behind Joe Flacco, who was a pretty good quarterback at the time, won a Super Bowl, against Colin Kaepernick, the San Francisco 49ers. So he ended up behind a good quarterback, so he had to sit for a little bit, but not for too long because that quarterback was kind of like at the tail end. Well, he's actually still in the league and actually doing good. He's now playing for the Indianapolis Colts, and he's doing pretty good as a backup quarterback. But he it ended up that he got hurt. Lamar had to take over from him, and then I mean, he was a rookie, so he kind of looked like trash. But they won 7 games in a row. So you know how it is in the NFL. Somebody's winning, they're gonna try to ride the hot hand. So they decided to ride his hot hand, and to the point where they say, you know what, you're not the franchise quarterback, right? So that season ended. The following season, he took off, and he won the MVP unanimously. No, which means nobody voted against him, right? He was the unanimous MVP that year, right? In his sophomore year, and then last year he won the MVP again, right? He was 1 game out of the Super Bowl. I think it's the NFC Championship. You see, I'm kind of confused as to which one is the AFC and the NFC and thing. I think it's the NFC Championship, and so he's so lucky that he ran into Patrick Mahomes, right? And Travis Kelce, if you will, right? So that's not a bad, that's not a bad gig, you know what I mean? To get to the AFC Championship, and you run into the best quarterback in the league. There's a lot of people that actually ran into Tom Brady in his time, and if you want to talk about the NBA, there's a lot of people that ran into Michael Jordan just the same, and they ended up out of the league, have a wonderful career, Hall of Fame career, and just never won a championship because you have the GOAT at the time. And then, Tom Brady was the GOAT. Now it's argued that Patrick Mahomes is going to be the GOAT. So we'll see. From the time he started playing for the Kansas City Chiefs, he hasn't played outside of we call it, I think it's the NFC. He hasn't played outside of the NFC Championship before. And then the last time he did not make it to the Super Bowl, I think it was Tom Brady, the GOAT, that stopped him at that point. So for this era, Patrick Mahomes is the GOAT. So you can't complain when a person like Lamar Jackson. But anyway, to get back to the game, right? The game, they start off behind. I think it was like 14 to like 23 or something like that. And I was like, man, this one looks sticky, on the Ravens. But anyway, they came back. It was actually a shootout. Like, he would go down, he would score a touchdown. Joe Burrow would go down, they would score a touchdown, to the point where it ended in regulation, 38-38, right? So they got to go overtime. They got the ball. They took the ball first because they were hot. They were just going down the field, just like that. Just like that. They were going down the field. Turns out that they fumbled the damn ball. The clock was running out. The play clock was running out. Lamar Jackson was clapping his hand like, hurry up. Snap me the ball. Snap me the ball. He wasn't ready. The center snapped the ball, hit him in the chest. They fumbled the ball, turned it over. So I turned off the darn TV because it was in their like end of the field. So I'm like, freaking Cincinnati's gonna win the game. So I turned off the TV. I didn't want to see Lamar lose. That's how emotional I am, and I couldn't watch football for the rest of the day. Even it was other games I wanted to see, but I couldn't watch because I don't want to see Lamar lose. So I turned off the TV, and I was sick for the rest of the day. Nervous as hell, So later on, now I'm catching up on the highlights. I realized that the Cincinnati Bengals did not capitalize on that field advantage. They actually went 3 and out and hooked the field goal wide left, and then turn over the ball. Well, then they turn over the ball. They kicked the ball to Baltimore. And this guy, right, Derrick Henry, 6'3", 240-something pounds, right? Nobody can stop him. The best running back in the league, right? The Bengals had the sauce for him today. He couldn't run through nothing. Every time he got the ball, he seemed like he ran into a damn brick wall. He couldn't. I think towards the end of regulation, he was like 30-something yards. But Baltimore never went away from him. They gave him the ball again, and he actually ran it all the way down to the 5 yard line. I think he tackled on about 70 on that 30. So I think he ended up with 100 yards rushing today, just for that play. They didn't run another play. They just kicked the damn field goal and won the game, 41-38, and that was so sweet. But I'm telling you, I thought for the whole day, I'm going around. I'm going around mad as heck, emotional as heck because I thought they lost. Right, so that's how emotional I am. Right, a couple other games that was fun. Well, before I talk about those games, Deshaun Watson, he's another player I want to see win. Why? Because of all the things that happened to him in Houston, all that bad press that he got for all those massage, sexual harassment allegations, which, I looked at it as a guy got a lot of heat for just paying for some, what, what I'm saying? Like, girls are flying in from all over the place to give him a massage and, happy endings or whatever the case may be. But I'm like, how many of those girls have a license? A massage license. But anyway, he got a lot of bad press. The Cleveland Browns, they brought him in. The owner wanted him, so they gave him $230 million guaranteed. Caught a lot of flack for that because they thought that a guy who did not play for a whole year and have all that stuff on his name should get $30 million guaranteed. And if you know how the NFL works, is if it's the next man up. So if he got that much money, the next person that is up for a contract is going to get higher than that. The next quarterback that is up is going to get paid higher than that. So he kind of set the threshold as it relates to how a quarterback got paid. Not a lot of quarterback got $230 million guaranteed, but they got in the highs, 170s, 180s. But the overall contract is ridiculous. Like the high, like 250s, 300s, things like that. So he caught a lot of flack. No, he's not playing well, right? He's not playing well, and it's for a couple of reasons. And when I watch the game, I think that the coach don't like him. I think that the coach has something, against him, based on probably his personal beliefs as to what transpired, in those allegations, which he wasn't indicted on anything whatsoever, right? They had a grand jury and they said they're not going to indict him, right? He got, suspended for a few games from the NFL for conduct detriment. That's how the NFL can get you with anything that they call conduct detrimental to the league. I don't know, if you break a pencil and they feel like you shouldn't, then conduct detrimental to the league. So he got about half of the season. He came back, he won a couple games. Last season he went, I think it was 4-1. He ended up broke his shoulder. Then he missed the rest of the season. Now he's not playing good. But what I see is that every time the ball is snapped, this guy is on the ground. The offensive line for the Cleveland Browns can't protect anybody. They can't block nobody. And in the NFL, if you want to win games, the number one thing you got to do, you have to keep the quarterback upright, right? Every time this the ball is snapped and this guy's gonna make a throw. Is either he's on the ground, he's sacked, or he's hit, right? He's running around for his life, and you know what? And everybody's like, he's not playing good, and this and that, and And I think that the media is in on it. The sports media is in on it too. Something is going on over there. It doesn't look good because I see other quarterback like getting sacked a lot, and they comment about it. Like Aaron Rodgers just lost a game. I think it was Thursday Night Football, right? 10-9. And the commentary about it was like, well, they need to protect the quarterback. So I'm like, why not Deshaun Jackson? Why not protect him? Every snap, this guy's on the ground. It's ridiculous. You know what I mean? So I want to see him win, but he's not winning. So I think he's going to be out of the league. I think that scandal had caught up to him. But guess what? He's going to be out of the league with $230 million, plus whatever $100-something million, $70-something million that they were paying him in Houston. Okay? Even though I don't think it's the entire contract is guaranteed anymore, because I think he restructured the contract to see if they could bring in some more playmakers to help them win. But yeah, some other games. Kyler Murray. I like to see Kyler Murray play. He's very entertaining. Running around just like a video game. This short dude, probably about 5'4". I mean, he's not 5'4", but everybody on the field is big. So this guy looked like 5'4", 5'2" out there. But he played pretty good. They actually came back and won their game. Hold on, my cigar is out. I'm talking too much. I need a reminder to take a sip every now and then. Yeah, so that game, C.J. Stroud with the Houston Texans, that was a pretty hard-fought game. Josh Allen, they got him bottled up. He couldn't do anything for the Buffalo Bills. I mean, that game, it could go either way because I like Josh Allen too. So that game could go any other way. Rookies. You got these two rookies. The number one pick, Caleb Williams, Chicago Bears. He played pretty good today. They won their game. I think it's like 36-10. I think. I mean, he was playing pretty horrible starting out. You know what I mean? I guess, coming into the league, you got to catch up to the speed of the game. Everybody in the league can play. Everybody is fast. You know what I mean? And you're not playing against 18-year-olds, right? You're playing against grown men, right? So he did well today. Jaden Daniels for the Washington football team. He is killing it. That dude, I don't think he played a game without scoring about 40 points. That guy is killing it, man. He's actually playing better than the number one overall, which is Caleb Williams, right? So I think that's it for football right now. I'm gonna get into the topic, but today's Sunday, so I can't do a live today without talking about football, right? I just love sports, so any opportunity I get to talk about it, I'm gonna talk about it. Okay, so now it's what October. What day is it now? It's October 6th, right? So you know what's happening next month, right? Right? I think November 3rd, if I'm not mistaken, right, is going to be election day, right? The presidential election. The presidential election, right? So somebody is going to be the president and somebody is not going to be the president, right? Who's going to be? I don't know. Do I care that much? No, because as I said, at the end of the day, whomever is the president, one day they're going to be the president, and then one day they're just not going to be the president. That's just how the system is set up. A lot of people put a lot of stock in it. A lot of people put their life on the line for it. I know I am one of them who's not going to do that because I know I don't see the president as nothing more than just a ceremonial figure, right? There are certain things that you can do, but there's not much you can do. You're the commander-in-chief, but if Congress don't give you no money, you can't go to war, right? You can't go kick nobody's ass. So you're just so much of a commander-in-chief and so much not a commander-in-chief, right? Congress really, who control the money, control the country. That's how I see it, right? And then I'm more into local politics, right? And most of my issues are at the local level, right? One of the things I care about is healthcare. I have a big family, and I'm gonna keep saying that, right? That's what I care about, is healthcare, right? I don't think any of these presidents is gonna do anything about the Affordable Care Act. I don't think they're gonna do anything about it. I think it's gonna stay the same. As I said, I said in my last video that, or 2 videos ago, that I got the Obamacare, right? And they turn around and give me back my money and say, go get Medi-Cal. I don't know if that's a part of the feature to say, okay, you sign up for it. This is my family. This is how much I should pay. They assess it and say, guess what? Here your money back. This one is better for you. I don't know if that's a feature of it, but I just know that I'm not on it because they say they didn't want me. So I don't know what to think about that, but I don't think anybody's going to fix that or do any changes to it, right? The next thing that I worry about is more local, right? It's more a California thing, and that has to do with like child support, right? That's my big issue. I don't like that department or that area of, I don't even know what to call it, you know what I mean? Because Um, one, because I'm going through it, right? And they pressure you to the point where it's not even that it just seems like you're not supposed to function. As you least expect, you're late on a payment. They want to cancel your driver's license. If you have any other licenses like professional license, they try to go after that too, right? And they even try to put you in jail from time to time. You know what I mean? And I know that any man out there hearing this and are going through it, they're just as frustrated as I am. You know what I mean? I think it's just a system that does take regular law-abiding citizens and turn them into criminals. Like the other day, they want to put me in jail for contempt, right? I fought it. I got off or I beat it or whatever that is. But a lot of people just take the deal because they do offer you a deal. Say, hey, look, this is an exciting deal. We have it. You capitulate to all this stuff, and then you plead guilty to contempt, right? So contempt is criminal, right? You have a record now, whether it's misdemeanor or something. I think it's a felony, because I remember trying to get help with it, and I go to the courthouse and to get help in the self-help area, and they're like, "Hey, I can't really help you with this. This is a criminal matter. You need to go get you a lawyer, or here's a library that you can go to." So you can do the research for yourself, but we are not going to be liable for anything just in case it didn't work out. And I was like, man, this shit, you know what I mean? So that's an issue for me, and I don't think they're going to change it. You know what I mean? I think, I've been through it before to the point where, I was told that I was another child's father. And when I went to court, they were trying to find every reason to put me on child support, right? Like, they asked me if this child ever say my name, if I ever tell anybody that this child, even though DNA proved that I'm not the father of this child, right? They asked me. I thought once the DNA say you're 99.99% not the biological father, I thought it was over. Like, nope, hold on. I was almost turning around to walk away. They're like, nope, you're not over it. Hey, have you ever told anybody that this is your child? Has a child ever called you your dad and things of that nature? I was like, man, what the heck? You know what I mean? I think the law that governs this department is too stringent, and I think it takes takes advantage of a lot of men in our society. You know what I mean? And to the extent where it sometimes make good fathers bad fathers. You know what I mean? So I don't hear it's being talked about on the presidential level, and I sure don't hear it talked about on the local level. So I don't know. Probably I need to look more, or dial in a little bit more. But anybody that say they're gonna do something about that, that's the person I will be voting for. It doesn't matter what level it is, right? So hence nobody's gonna get my vote. Okay. Yeah. So what I really want to talk about right now, yeah, it's towards the end of the year, right? And it's we're about a month away, a little bit less than a month away from the presidential election, and you hear a lot of talk, right, in the media about independents and undecided, right? And you hear it so much, and then you hear about swing states, right? Some of the terminologies, it took a while for me to learn what they really are, like the electoral college, the electorate, and all these elaborate terms, right? But one thing you always hear about is independence, right? Because in the United States, the politics is pretty much split half and half, right? Right? You will have, well, it's even said that you have more people on the Democratic side than the Republican side, right? So the Republicans normally rely on the swing states, right? Because you have states out there where their vote count. If you go vote, if you live in that state, you're a resident of that state, your vote count more than one, right? It's like those are small states, right, in terms of numbers, but one vote probably equals 1,000 votes, right? So that's where the Republican Party kind of rely on, right? And even the Democratic Party, because each state only have so many we call it electoral college. So even the big state, it kind of balances out to where they kind of give the power to the smaller states. And when I say smaller state, not in terms of the square footage and the square mileage of the state, or the square meters, or any way you want to measure it. It's about the number of people there, right? So you talk about swing states. So you have a dead heat between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, right? So now they're talking about the independents and the undecideds, right? Those are two terms, and sometimes they use them interchangeably, right? Hold on a second. Let me light this. Yeah, so sometimes they use those terms interchangeably. Sometimes they use them and they're talking about the same people. But my take on this is that you have you have Democrats, right? Dieharded Democrats, and you have dieharded Republicans, right? Or in this time Trumpers, right? But I'll say Republicans, right? And then you have independents, and then you have the conceited, right? I don't call them the undecideds, right? And let me explain, right? Independence, right? First of all, I think that everybody, especially at this time in the game, knows who they're gonna vote for. I don't think there's anybody in the United States of America who can vote that do not know who they're going to vote for, or who they're leaning towards, or who they want to vote for. I think there's independents, right, who know who they want to vote for but are still liable to change their mind, right? If you tell them something or show them something that is really near and dear to their heart, they can change their mind. But at the end of the day, they still know who they're leaning towards, right? They know who they're voting for, right? And then you have what they call the undecideds, but I call them the concededs. And I just think they're just full of crap, right? They just want to be wined and dined. You know what I mean? They just want to feel like they're the one who shaped the policies. You know what I mean? They have to come tell me this. They gotta go. They gotta go above and beyond. You know, and I'm talking about the candidates. They gotta go above and beyond to explain themselves, right? And I just think that no, you know who you want to vote for, and it's either you just wishy-washy, or you just conceited. And I think I'm more leaning towards conceited. You know what I mean? And sometimes they have like panels with these people, you know, and you see them put them, you know, on a panel and say, hey, you know, how about the debate, and what are you leaning towards? You know, how can we get you over here, and you know, how can we get you over there? And they just want to be wined and dined, you know what I mean? And that's how I see it. They know in their hearts of hearts who they want to vote for, you know what I mean? It's either they're voting on family heritage, because that is here too, you know. Sometimes we think that that's just elsewhere. There's diehards, and there's people who vote based on their heritage, you know, their great grandparents coming all the way down. There's people who vote like that along the party lines, right? Meaning on both sides. But as I said, I think there's people who are actually independents, you know what I mean? And then independent doesn't necessarily mean that you don't lean one way. I'm an independent. right? I'm not registered to vote, but if I were to register to vote, that's what I'm going to label myself as an independent, right? Because I don't see myself, beholding to any political party whatsoever. So that's which I would say whenever I I register to vote, that's where I would label myself. So being an independent doesn't necessarily mean that you're not leaning to one side or the other, right? It just means that that's what's on paper, right? But your politics may be something different, right? Like for me, I would be an independent, but I would be more democratic leaning, and that's just being honest, right? There's more of the issues that is near and dear to me that is more on the Democratic side, right? It doesn't mean that I would never vote for a Republican president or a Republican representative, right? So, and to me, that's all it is. It's whatever you put down on paper. I'm an independent because I don't want to be beholden by any party whatsoever. If you say something to me I don't like, I'm gone. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna vote. Or if I hear something over here that I feel like I like and I want to be associated with it, just like Elon Musk, right? Elon Musk voted for Joe Biden in the last election. No, I don't think he's voting for Kamala Harris. He's gonna vote for um for Donald Trump. Every signal point to that direction as it relates to Elon Musk, right? And a lot of people like, how do you do that? You know what I mean? Because Elon Musk, was Democratic, leaning for a long time. You know what I mean? His company Tesla was largely supported by the Democrats, and the Obama administration. And then if you look at most of his sales as it relates to like his Tesla vehicles, most Teslas are owned by Democrats, right? That's why a lot of Democrats don't like him. No, but I think there's a reason why. I think he's seen something, right, that makes him change, right? But for a long time he was an independent but democratic leaning. You get what I'm saying? So I think that everybody in the United States or the US of A knows who they're gonna vote for, and these people who call themselves undecideds, they are full of crap. They are full of crap. They're just trying to please themselves and probably get like you know 15 minutes of fame, because the media do call them in, like, hey, tell me about what's important to you, you know, tell me about, how can I get you over here, like what are some of the issues that you're looking at, you know what I mean? And so they can feel like they're the one shaping the policies, right? And a lot of these people are in the swing states, right? Which I don't know how you figure that there's more undecideds in California versus Pennsylvania, Arizona and things like that, because that's pretty much what they use to decide, the swing states, the undecideds, so each presidential candidate are trying to model their campaign to those people. So that's why, hence, in the last election, no, the last debate, you see you see a more of a softening up of the rhetoric from either sides, right? They were more like, hey, I like that, other boy, I like you too, and I like you, things like that, and it wasn't an all out brawl like you have that debate, the last presidential debate between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, and even the presidential debate between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. That was somewhat of a brawl, right? There's a lot of press material that came out of that, especially with Donald Trump talking about eating the pets and all that stuff, and cooking and whatever the hell's they're doing with the pet. But this vice presidential debate, it was more of a softening up on the tones because they're trying to appeal to the swing state voters and the undecideds, and that's what's going to decide the election. But as I said, I don't think that there's undecideds. I think there's people who know who's going to vote for, but just want to be, you know, catered to. You know what I mean? And that's really what I want to say about that as it relates to the undecideds and the independents. I don't have a problem with independents. I don't have a problem with independence. If you watch what's it called PBD, Patrick Bet David podcast, he's an independent. He's registered as an independent, but that's a Trump loving guy. I don't think there's anybody love Trump more than that guy, right? But he's a registered independent. And I watch his podcast because I like he comes off to me as more honest. I'm an independent, but guess what? I like this guy. I'm gonna vote for this guy. You know what I mean? As opposed to somebody's like, I don't know who I'm voting. Then October 31st, and they still don't know who they're gonna vote for. Come on, give me a break. Get out of here with that shit. You know what I mean? So, as I said, this is Jovi, and this is the way I see it. Thanks for tuning in. Like the podcast, subscribe to the podcast, share the podcast, and I hope you enjoy the material. Thank you.